Live from Orion Shine Studios, located behind the train tracks off of West 4th Avenue, it's time once again for the Brony Bookclub with Sam and Roy.
Yay!
Yep, we're back after a month of absence. Actually, more than a month of absence.
Yeah, something like that.
Wow. It's been a long time. Now, usually this is where I make excuses and be like, oh, well, this happened. Really, we were just kind of lazy. So, yeah, and that and changes. For those of you who don't know, you probably know if you're watching this on YouTube, unless you actually think this episode's only 15 minutes long. Don't know why you'd think that. But the last episode was removed from YouTube, and because it was removed from YouTube, our account has a strike on it, which means we can no longer upload anything over 15 minutes. So the full episodes are going up on Video Bam. The first 15 minutes go on YouTube with a link. However, if you're watching this on Video Bam, you should find the YouTube, because that description has all of the links and the fun things in it. So you should go do that right away.
Yay.
Yay. What, is that it? Just yay? Nothing?
Yeah, well, I don't... You said all the information necessary, so all I can really add are random little filler words to show that I'm the co-host and I'm here. Hi, everyone.
Really? That's it?
Well, for now.
So helpful!
Hey, we'll talk about the fix in a minute. I'll have things to say. Occasionally.
Okay. Occasionally.
I am the soft-spoken one.
You're the soft-spoken... Oh, okay. So, what else is going on besides that? Well, I've been working on fixing the show for a while, and I realize this is a momentous time to do it. Not only is this technically our anniversary episode, even though it's a month off, in spirit, it is still our anniversary episode, but it is also the episode 26, which, if you follow stuff, you know is the end of a season. So this is, in fact, the end of Season 1 of the Brony Book Club. But do not worry, just like Digimon, Season 2 will start next week. Or in 2 weeks, depending on when we actually get it done. Yay! We finished to Season 1. Season 2 is basically Phase 3. We're going to be changing some stuff, some of which we're actually changing in this episode. Mostly not, though. Basically, big changes. No more music. No more opening songs or ending songs or anything like that. Mostly because that's what we got taken down for in the first place. So, no more of that.
Boo.
Boo indeed. Anyway, this week we're going to have multiple topics, really. For the first half or so of the show, we're going to be talking about Luigis Mansion, mostly because it was the first story we ever talked about in the show on the first episode. Sam has been reading it dutifully in the passing time, so we'll be discussing that, which should be fun. We'll also be talking about Dark Fix. This is a Dark Fix episode. We'll have quite a few repeats because, hey, we know more what we're doing now than we did all that time ago. We've read a lot more, so we can more easily talk about things like this.
Mm-hmm.
So, Dark Fix, yes. Luigis Mansion, yes. And also, at the tail half of the show, we will be talking about, because it's the anniversary episode, we'll be reminiscing a little bit, talking about the show, and I'll be reading emails that our lovely fans have sent in that are beautiful and make me cry. So, let's start off, as we always do. We must talk about the thick in question, Luigis Mansion. Sam, I have talked about Luigis Mansion over the course of this podcast.
Yes,
quite a bit.
Yes, you have.
And where are you exactly? Because you haven't finished, you haven't caught up.
I haven't gotten as far as I want. See, the interesting thing, just for you listeners out there to understand the way that I work with this fan fiction, is that this show is the thing that reminds me that there's a lot of fan fiction I have to read. There's a lot of other stuff I'm trying to do, and then this show is the thing that every week I'm all like, oh, hey, I need to read this stuff, or this updated, cool. So without this show happening, even having Luigis Mansion looming over my head is something that I had to read. I didn't spend as much time doing so as I probably should have. That said, I didn't get that insanely far just because Luigis Mansion is ridiculously long, thick, and so however far I got is nothing in comparison to actually getting far in it. The latest chapter is over 50,000 words.
The latest chapter.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, the overall word count still doesn't have anything on Fallout Equestria or anything, but that is, just because I read Fallout Equestria doesn't mean that I can get through things that are really long in, one fell swoop or anything.
Can you tell me about...
Point being, I'm right before Pinkie Pie. I'm pretty sure I am about to meet her.
Chapter 14?
Well, Chapter 7 is called The Giggling Ghostie, so I figured. But maybe that's a reference to Pinkie Pie that's not actually Pinkie Pie happening?
Oh. Wow.
Yeah, I know.
6 chapters?
7. I'm on 7. 6.5.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, wait, technically 8 because there's a prologue.
I can't discuss crap today. I was
Oh.
just joking. You got far enough. There are some things I would love to talk about, but I can't because of spoilers. However, yes, we can discuss it. I like.
I don't want to spoil everything for the listeners either, though. So, I mean, come on.
I know. From the 6 chapters you have read, what dost thou think?
It is quite interesting. Not having read not having read. Wow. Yeah, not having played much Luigi's Mansion myself. The GameCube was actually one of my first systems that I really owned, and I did so way after it came out. So by that point, Luigi's Mansion, was kind of a footnote in the history of video games, and I was also young and didn't even think about it. So, not having played it, I, of course, am, familiar enough with it to get a lot of the references, but in terms of, like, any mood things or, more subtle references, I get the feeling some of it might be flying over my head, but for the most part, it works just fine, despite my lack of familiarity with the game. This is one of my favorite things, actually, about fan fiction in general, is in crossovers like this, when they'll take a story that has nothing to do with ponies, but then put it in, not just make all the characters into some of the ponies from the show, but actually to
adapt the story.
Well, yeah, to adapt the story and to take the world around it and the details of it and shape them into something that not only is faithful to the source material, but also that fits in better with the lore of My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic. That's one of the reasons I love My Little Chrono and want updates from it, Pav. Anyway, I've been enjoying it. It's notable also that even just in these 7 chapters, I can see the author's grammar improving. At first, now and again, I was like, but no, why? And I've graded papers and stuff. I'm a nitpick about that, but it's been improving, even just in this while. And
this was his first fic.
Yeah, I noticed that and that's pretty impressive to me. Like, I can tell in some ways that it's his first fic, but especially seeing the way it develops and the way that it doesn't go the way that I would expect a first fic to. Usually when someone tries writing a first fic like this, then I can tell this is your first stuff kind of permeates the whole thing. But just like with the grammar, even by chapter 7, it's getting to the point where, it's not an obvious first fanfic. So yeah, it's good and it's getting better. And I imagine by the point 1 chapter is 50,000 freaking words, it's going to be getting even better. So.
Oh, definitely. Some great plot twists.
Yeah. I do, one thing that I both commend it for and that isn't a problem with the fic at all, but it's just something that doesn't work as well as I thought it might have, is the music. For those not aware, I think this has been mentioned on the show before, but Sweetie's Mansion actually has, certain words at the introduction of certain areas or concepts or ideas or something. Yeah, there will be a link in the words, and you just, open it in a new tab and let it go, and it opens to a song from the Luigis Mansion soundtrack on YouTube. And so, you just put that up in another tab and let the music go while you're reading. And, I mean, that's great. To bring up My Little Chrono again, I actually did that the entire way, because I mentioned in that video game soundtrack episode, Chrono Trigger is my favorite soundtrack, so I just went through, knew exactly where the music went and played it. And for the author of Sweetie's Mansion to purposefully put that in there is pretty awesome. The weird thing is that this fic is, from what I have experienced of Luigi's Mansion, a good deal darker than Luigi's Mansion. The soundtrack of Luigi's Mansion has dark elements, but it's still very much that, fun, jaunty, upbeat, Mario stuff, And,
that was a great impression of Mario either.
Yeah, thank you. I'm sure it was the greatest. But anyway, yeah, point being, I really love that idea. It's just kind of weird to hear a soundtrack that is very distinctly Mario and as kind of dark as it sounds, very just fun and silly like Mario music usually is. I still give props to Super Mario Galaxy for having the most epic and beautiful soundtrack in the series, but yeah, like it's kind of weird since the fic is as dark as it is. But still, that's a great idea, and I wish that more fics, even if it was the soundtrack of the thing it's crossing over with, or even just, some music that they thought would go well in the background or something. I wish that more fics would do that, because that's a great idea.
Actually, there is something like that. Paleo Prince's story. School Days. The one with Shirley going to the disaffiliated school.
Yeah.
There are 2 musical segments that, I don't remember what one of them was, but I remember one of them is like, play this song because it's a montage. And so there's music that goes to the montage. And the other one is there's actually a musical portion put to a song from Once More with Feeling.
Huh.
Specifically Walking Through the Fire. And he has different lyrics for it. And so he links a karaoke version. And it was amazing. Like, at that point, I had gotten to a point in Buffy where I'd gotten to Once More with Feeling, so I just listened to the karaoke version to his lyrics, and it was freaking amazing.
That's pretty awesome.
So, yeah, more people need to do that.
Yeah, see, I've seen that a little bit, but mostly just for, like I think I've mentioned in the past a human fic regarding Fluttershy, In Our World, Kindness, and it did that at one point when they entered an establishment that had music playing, and, he had the music and the YouTube link so that you could hear it and get the idea of what's going on. But that's like the extent. I mean, that kind of makes sense as a little insert thing, but I haven't seen it very often as something that's very integrated into the fic. And so, yeah, I really like that idea. So that's cool. But anyway, yeah, even though I haven't gotten as far as I should have and do want to, because it's good. I have been reading, and that's good. It's a good fic. So yeah.
Okay. So hold on a second.
Are you powering up your...
I'm drinking my podcast juice.
Oh, boy. Okay. We're in for a treat here, listeners. Now listen to Roy as he just goes on and on about how awesome it is and why.
Well, no, it does have, as I mentioned, it does have a few flaws in that kind of first fic kind of way. At points it kind of meanders. It is exceptionally long. What I just want to say is if you haven't, as I always have to recap the fic. For those of you who have not read it, the basic idea is that a strange mansion seems to appear outside of town. Everyone gets invited to a party. They all disappear. The Cutie Mark Crusaders crash land there while trying to get a paper airplane flying Cutie Mark. Sweetie wakes up with the others gone and stumbles into the mansion and finds that it's full of ghosts of everyone in Ponyville, and she has to save them with the help of her magical vacuum thingy. And that sounds like, it's just Luigis Mansion. It's goddamn dark.
Yeah.
Like, every time she meets one of the portrait ghosts, who are the main 6, they're really evil. Like, they are trying to murder her.
Oh, yeah, that's made clear from the very beginning. That's pretty crazy.
So there's that, definitely. I think we've mentioned before on the podcast, and now you've seen, Pinky is kind of the most evil of them all, or at least the scariest. But the others are also scary. Like, Applejack was the first one where you're like, oh, crap.
Mm-hmm.
And then Fluttershy was just, like, apologizing as she's killing Sweetie.
Apologizing?
So, wasn't she? Yeah, that. Yeah, that, apology. Everyone apologizes.
Yay. Okay for apologizing.
All of the grammar. Okay.
Yeah, you know me.
So, hey. I can't think of anything else to say really about it. It is a really great story. I really love Luigis Mansion. And yes, it is very long, but so is Fall of Equestria. It's not quite Fall of Equestria standards, of course, but it is still really great, and it's one of those stories that builds and builds and builds over time. Mm. So definitely, everyone should go read that immediately. But it's been a long time, and you weren't there the first time we discussed Dark Fix.
I was not, actually.
And in fact, the first time we discussed Dark Fix, I didn't know crap about Dark Fix. This podcast has actually made me read a bunch of Dark Fix that I would not otherwise have read. I have like 2 pages of them on FimFiction now. It's crazy.